Today, the world changed forever, and nobody on this planet will escape the effects of what happened today. Today was oil Armageddon. This is the stuff that creates wars and revolution. Your life, my life, everybody's life is permanently changed. Today, oil opened up at $17.70 some cents and crashed by $53.47 at this point to minus $35.20, down 292% at that point. But it kept on getting worse. You know, I started making a video earlier, and the price started crashing, and I was putting together a presentation. It takes hours to do these. And it kept on changing, and I kept on taking snapshots and changing it. And then I gave up and started to do a live thing where I was watching live charts, and I recorded all of that. I show all of the ramifications that this will have on your life and on various countries. Look soon for emergency maneuvers, for vast currency printing around the planet, for wars and for revolution to happen, because suddenly the income for many, many governments around the world just vanished. This is West Texas Intermediate crude May contracts trading at minus $28, down 253%. And then the ticker down here says West Texas Intermediate May contract settles at minus $37.63 a barrel. But it even gets worse. This is a chart of the intraday trading, and you can see it opened at 1773, and it traded as low as $40.32 a barrel. They're paying more than 80 cents per gallon for somebody to take this oil away. The seller, the producers, are paying $40.32 to have the buyer take it from them. And I mean, this truly is oil Armageddon. And with all of the oil producing countries, their income just vanished. It's gone. And many governments around the world are run on oil revenues. Not to mention the enormous industry. The world's largest oil producer is the United States. All of that went away today. And that means trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars of bailouts. This is something that, I mean, you have to watch the upcoming video. I'm going to end this introduction right now because I just can't stress how big this is, and the information in this video is very important. Thank you, and good luck. Today will go down in history as oil Armageddon. Nothing like this has ever happened to the price of oil before. As I speak, oil is at $1.26, and what I've done here is gone to, I'm just doing this live, and I'm going to a page that refreshes automatically every once in a while, and what you see here is that the oil price hit a low of $1.03 today. Now, these are the May futures, so these are contracts being made for the oil companies, the refiners, to deliver oil, not refiners, the oil producers to deliver to refiners oil. This is West Texas Intermediate crude, I believe, and crude oil at $1.03 was the low today. And I'm doing this live because I was trying to snapshot stuff and make a presentation, but you can't, because by the time you snapshot it, it changed and it's lower. And it's just falling off a cliff. And here's the thing. You have to be ready for a world that you have never seen before. This is going to be completely upside down. And unless you understand some of economic history, okay, $1.26, it's down 83.88%. And it was, at a buck, it was down close to 90% on the day. You've got to be ready for the weirdest economy you have ever seen. You won't know whether prices are going to be falling or rising or what's going to happen, because the knock-on effects of this with oil being given away, it's at $1.56 right now, so it's climbing a little. With oil being given away, I mean, look at that. This is the zero line, and just let me see, when was this? This was in January 7th. It was at $64 a barrel, and today we're at $1. It's 160. $1.03 was the low. And so, I mean, they're absolutely giving oil away. In some of the heavier oils, like Canada Select, they're actually paying the oil refineries to take away the oil producers. It's in negative territory. They're pumping a product and spending a lot of man hours and resources, energy to pump that up, and then paying them to take away the product. They can't just shut it off like a switch. There's pipelines. There's a supply chain. There's tanks of oil, of crude oil, and even if they turn off the oil pumps, there's still oil in the system that they have to get rid of. And here we are at basically $1 a barrel. So that's 2 cents a gallon, right? 50 gallons in a barrel of oil, and divided by, so it's $1 divided by 50. You're talking about 2 cents a gallon. Now, there's knock-on effects that you have to understand from all this. The U.S. became, from fracking and all of the other stuff that we've been doing, the advancements in technology, we've become the world's largest oil producer. We're not the world's largest oil exporter. That's Saudi Arabia. Number 2 is Russia. And we are the world's largest producer of oil, but we consume it all, and then we import on top of that. And so all of this oil that we're producing, there are towns all over. I mean, this is all over the Midwest and Texas and up to North Dakota. It's in Colorado. It's in California, all over the place. There are little towns that are almost entirely reliant on oil, on the people working in the oil fields, the oil refineries, the ports. The oil is an enormous industry. And now this is one more thing on the list. You're going to be seeing emergency meetings of Congress, and the Federal Reserve is going to be up all night tonight trying to figure out how to handle this. And in the coming days, they're going to be announcing massive bailouts for the oil industry because so many people are supported by this industry. It just goes down and down and down the line. And so you've got to get ready. They're going to be creating trillions of dollars to do all of this. It's not they're not just going to let this collapse because of all the cities and towns entirely reliant on this industry. And the knock-on effects, when they lose their jobs, then they can't buy something from the store, which then goes out of business. And when they lose their jobs, and then all these homes go on the market, and the downward spiral goes. This is oil Armageddon. This day will go down in the history books as the biggest thing. I mean, this is as big as the first time that they poked an oil drill down into the ground and oil spurted out, and they discovered that you didn't have to kill whales for oil. You could use this stuff that was stored underground. This day is that big when it comes to history. You're really living through something amazing here. But like I said, you got to be ready for this entirely weird economy where you just don't know what's coming at you. Because, my assistant is from Bulgaria, and he was in the 9th grade when they went through a hyperinflation. And when I started talking about this, he was saying, there was one day, I remember it was 2 leva, Bulgarian leva, for $1. So you could buy $1 with just 2 leva. A month later, it took 13,000 leva to buy $1. So that's the kind of hyperinflation he went through. His grandparents, who had worked, and they were buying a house while Bulgaria was part of the Soviet bloc. the grandparents that had been paying a mortgage on this house and still owed the majority of the balance. They had a $100 bill and they were able to pay off the mortgage, and they bought a house for $100. A house. This kind of stuff happens, and we are in for this is the deflation that I was talking about. This is episode 7 of Hidden Secrets of Money. Right now, velocity of currency is slowing. Commodities prices are crashing. Gold is up for the day right now. It's going up, while oil is falling off a cliff. $1.26 right now. Unbelievable. And the overflow of this, like I said, it's going to sweep across the nation very quickly. So along with, the Federal Reserve and all of the world central banks had pumped the entire world into bubbles everywhere. It was the almost everything bubble, where almost everything, it wasn't the everything bubble, almost everything bubble. There's a few things like precious metals did not keep up with the expansion of the currency supply or the expansion of the stock market, or, there was still corrections to be made when it came to the way these things balance. A bubble is caused, when you create currencies, there's something called the Cantillon effect. And that was an economist from, I believe his work was published in 1755, Richard Cantillon. And it shows that when you create currency, whatever sector that currency goes into first is inflated out of proportion to the rest of the economy. So that sector goes into a bubble. And it's when the economy isn't balanced. You can have an economy where everything is going up, not necessarily in price, but when GDP, how much goods and services we're producing and consuming, when that keeps on going up, you've got a great economy. But when you pump something into a bubble like the stock market or real estate, and it's not keeping up, the rest of the economy isn't keeping up with it, eventually the market is going to overwhelm that manipulation. It's going to snap back. We're seeing this effect right now, and it was precipitated by the coronavirus popping these bubbles. And then Saudi Arabia started a war with Russia and the United States by dropping oil prices, trying to regain market share, but they didn't realize it. They also started a war with their own foot because they shot themselves in the foot. This is where all of their national income comes from. It was $140 a barrel just a decade or so ago, and now we're talking about $1 a barrel. And so this war that they started came back to haunt them. Also, look for a crisis in Russia to happen just very, very soon. If all of the markets continue trading and stuff, you might want to go and short something in Russia, because Russia's economy, the Russian government, if you watch my episode about where I predicted back in 2010 that oil would be going back to just $10 a barrel. Well, it did that today and then surpassed it, and now it's down at $1. And so I predicted this at the annual Russian banking conference in Sochi, Russia. I was telling all these Russian bankers what their future was, and I told them that what I saw was that oil was going to crash. It'll go to 20, possibly even $10 a barrel. And then I showed them that Russia's income, their tax revenues, come from exporting commodities. They dig up stuff, they chop down trees, and they punch holes in the ground, and they export that stuff. And the vast, vast majority of that was oil exports. And so I showed them how much they were producing, what the price of oil was, and their income that they could expect from the production times the price of oil. Well, it doesn't matter how much they produce now. They don't have enough oil in the ground to support what their government consumes each year, and the vast, vast majority of their tax revenues just vanished today. And so you can look for a severe crisis in Russia and in Saudi Arabia and every oil-producing country. Any country that relies on the price of oil for a large portion of their national income is now going through, I mean, the crisis started today with the open, and the second oil started crashing down to these lows. This is just amazing. And what you have to get ready for is to try and navigate this and have your mind prepared. There were people during the Weimar hyperinflation that made, and these are people that were quick on their feet and quick thinking, and they weren't chained to old realities, to what happened yesterday. They tended to be the hucksters, the hoodwinkers, the scammers. They were people that sort of won. People that were not successful before, but were basically just con men. They ended up owning railroads and things, just steel production plants and things like that, because they could think quickly on their feet. They could pull one over on people, basically. It's your job now to think ahead of those kind of people. And so you've got to really get a handle on where things could go and what to watch for when the winds keep on changing, because they're going to be changing back and forth so fast it's going to take your breath away. One day we are going to be having severe deflation. The next day, hyperinflation. It's not going to happen in all sectors. One sector will run ahead of the other. The Federal Reserve is going to be creating tens of trillions of dollars, and you can look for gold to potentially go to infinity one day. You're going to see precious metals prices not measured in thousands or tens of thousands, but possibly measured above millions of dollars per ounce before they just lop a whole bunch of zeros off of the dollar. Right now, wow, the price just did, what is the price? $1.26. Okay. So, yeah, the low of $1.03 today. Unbelievable. It is a historic day. Get ready for a reality that you have never seen before. I want to thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you next time. There might be another video today. If prices go lower, I'll have between now and when this video is posted, I'll have my producer director, Dan Rubach, put up a chart of the latest price, because this truly is oil Armageddon. Thank you.